Alrighty, we should be recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to February 19th official Harbor Community Meeting under the CNCF. My name is Rulen Vasiliev, and I'm the Harbor Community Lead. With that, just please follow the Code of Conduct of CNCF, which boils down to be nice to each other and respect everybody's opinion. With that, I'm going to send again the links to our main meeting notes in HackMD. And one observation, we have few note takers in our call. Not sure if we need so many, but that's fine. As long as we don't misuse them. Alrighty. With that, we have some new faces on the call, and let's start with. First of all, please add yourself into the meeting minutes and add your topics for discussion if you have any, so we can go one by one. And I'm gonna butcher your name now. Is it Lorne or Lorne?
It's Lauren. If you just ignore the
Lauren.
E,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no worries.
Yeah. So I think you were invited by Florian. You said
Yeah,
to
that's right.
to discuss the cross-plane provider for Harbor.
Yeah, that's
So
right. So,
and that's that's the first topic in our agenda added anyway. So do you want to take it away and share?
yeah, sure. So I guess I'll just give a little bit of background. So I would say we, sorry, I mean Global Logic. I work for a product and platform engineering consultancy, and we have our own internal developer platform. Um, And we use Crossplane as the kind of infrastructure orchestration layer in that platform. It's a pattern that we're seeing a lot of our customers starting to adopt. And we use Harbor as part of our reference architecture for the container registry. We looked at the time for a crossplane provider for Harbor, and there were none. So we created one using it uses something called Upjet, which I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Crossplane or the Crossplane ecosystem. It's created initially by a company called Upbound, and they have a tool called Upjet, which essentially allows you to generate a Crossplane provider from a Terraform provider. So I guess it just inspects the schema and kind of reproduces that in Kubernetes CRDs. So we did that initially for our own internal use. There have been some PRs from other users and some conversations with other users. And Harbor is something, as I mentioned, that's in our reference architecture as a company, that if we are working with customers who don't have a solution already for container registry, it would be I guess one of our suggestions, or certainly our first suggestion. So we created the provider for those reasons. Florian, as you mentioned, reached out on GitHub recently to see if the provider was still maintained. I think, if I'm being honest, it hadn't been for a while, because we'd kind of we'd got it to a point where it matched the version that we were using internally. But there have been some issues raised on GitHub, so I addressed those recently and bumped it to the latest version of the Terraform provider, so it should now be up to date. And Florian reached out to ask about the potential of adopting it into the Go Harbor organization. So I joined really to hear the thoughts of the community. It's something I would be open to. As I mentioned, Billy in my team is also on the call. I think we would probably have to just discuss internally with people to see how that would go down and what we would have to do. But yeah, I'm open to hearing what everyone thinks.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the good news, right? I think we have already like two providers. One is Terraform, one is Bloomy. And so having a third popular one would be definitely something interesting as well for the community. So what we are currently doing, or in the recent projects that we got, was, this is what we did with Terraform as well, is basically transition the project into Harbor once it is mature enough, right? And also the second condition is once we have someone who is taking care of that, right? So if we have some kind of a community around the plugin and it's maintained, then I think there is no reason why not ingesting it or adding it to the community repository. But the two criteria of being active and being maintained should be met before that.
Yeah.
And,
With the sorry. I was just going to ask, with the Pulumi provider, is that also generated from
yes,
the
yes,
Terraform provider? Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
It's also generated from the Terraform provider, and it is currently not yet part of the Harbor community, but it's basically just but it's maintained and up to date and maintained outside of Harbor currently. But we're looking into that and see how we can also get this into Harbor, right? And
I think correct me if I'm wrong, Lon. You've obviously been the primary person working on this, but kind of maintenance should be somewhat limited, right? Because it's just going to be updating, kind of doing version bumps to ensure we're in line with the Terraform provider that's been released.
Yeah,
exactly. I think from our standpoint, and what we probably should have implemented a long time ago, is similar to the Backstage plugin that we have, which is some kind of automated
version bump,
like provider version check-in and then version bump off the back of us to then send us the nudge to say new provider version's been released, need to make changes to the code, here's an open PR to start that process on. So I think that's something we could pretty easily implement on our end as well, which would help.
And also the whole kind of release part, right? So release management, building the artifacts, and also releasing them on GitHub so that people can download them. I'm not sure how, is there kind of a registry for Upbound? They have their own registry?
There is. So at the moment it's published to the Crossplane registry or the Harbor marketplace. Sorry, not Harbor marketplace, the Upbound marketplace on Global Logic UKI like organization. I'm not sure what the class is that they use to describe that, but yeah, it's currently there as well. So that would be one thing, I guess, on any sort of donation roadmap would need to be figuring out where to shift it to. It's a simple case of they give you all the kind of build pipelines for GitHub. It's just a case of generating an API token and replacing that with the one that has rights to push to the right repository.
Okay, can you also check if it's possible to migrate a project to another org, so that we can create an org, Harbor org, and then you can transfer it, and then
I can look into that. In terms of the API themselves, so the Kubernetes API, that is there is no reference to our company in there. I believe it's just harbor.crossplane.io is the kind of API package name. So from that side there would be nothing. But yeah, I can look into any migration details that they have around shifting packages to different orgs.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think from my point of view, as Billy mentioned, I've been sort of the main maintainer of this. It's fairly light touch. It's a case of bumping versions. There are some intricacies that I think it would be nice to get perspective from yourselves on as additional maintainers. So there's an open issue at the moment, which is to do with defaults on one of the types around OIDC configuration, which I believe Harbor itself sets, and the Terraform provider seems to honor, but for some reason that doesn't get percolated up in the schema to our provider, and so you get this manifest mismatch, which again, it's maybe a bit of product knowledge that I could do with just to decide on the right solution for that. But
Okay. But Upbound, it's always Terraform based. Like you create it from Terraform. There is no option where you could create it from the
You
Open
can,
API
yeah.
spec.
You can. Good question. I don't know if they have a tool that you can generate from OpenAPI spec, but at the end of the day, it is essentially just a Kubernetes controller. So you can, and actually, before I discovered the tool that allowed you to generate from the Terraform provider, I'd gone down this path, which is you could just use the Harbor client or the Harbor APIs directly, and essentially implement the controller yourself. That would obviously be more maintenance because you'd have to kind of replicate changes across both. So, but Open API spec generation is something that I didn't look into.
Oh, okay, I'm just curious. Okay. Okay. I mean, from my perspective, if we kind of obey to this procedure, there could be a path to get this into Harbor. I don't know what other things, if they also agree with the roadmap that it should be maintained and supported for the community. Yeah.
So who I'm just thinking of kind of next steps. Obviously, myself and Lorne can start to explore that conversation internally. Who from the Harbor community is the best person for us to communicate with, kind of obviously outside of this call? If we have any questions, who would be the best person to go to?
In terms of what kind of what communication or like technical, organizational?
I guess
Maybe, sorry, Bill, you
sorry.
go.
Go on, Lorne.
I was going to say, I guess maybe a bit of both. So things like if we look into the migration roadmap and it's possible to shift to a different cross-plane registry, whatever the term is they use, who would help us create that for Go Harbor? Yeah, and just any questions around the migration steps. Did you mean something different, Billy, though, before?
No, I think it's just having a point of contact, right? So we cannot have the conversation internally about the donation of what we have. But it's just if any questions come out of that, who should we be reaching out to? As you said, if there's any technical questions around what would need to happen in Upbound Marketplace or anything like that, what do we do outside of these calls?
Yeah, you can go through me.
Yeah.
My Zoom is like CNCF Harbor right now, but in the chat, that's my name. You can find me
Orlin.
by Orlin.
Cool.
Yeah. Normally, I take care of this stuff and engage the rest of the maintainers team for
Cool.
specific stuff like technical, from organizational standpoint, governance, GitHub, and so on, setting up different stuff. I can do that, but for
Okay.
some very specific stuff, if it's outside of my knowledge, I can get in chat with someone and point you to the right one. So
Cool. Thanks, Orlin.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So I guess we'll go and yeah, have the discussion internally, and then we'll reach out to you, Orlin, with next steps.
Yeah, and we can like finalize that plan, build it up, and a question for the rest of the maintenance team: do we think we should put that for voting within the community, or we can decide in close circle, which is not close enough? We have like almost 20 people right now. So the majority of the stakeholders in terms of contributions are on the call. So I'm just trying to govern the project right. That's my ask. Should we go with official voting, or we're all good with that approach?
I think I'm good with the majority with this attendance in the meeting, but I don't quite follow the whole conversation. But the only question is, after it's migrated to Go Harbor organization, it's still being maintained by the original developer, right? Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
condition. Yeah.
yeah, if that's I'm good with that.
And I think the goal would be after the transition, we will put it into a sandbox state, for some time until the workflows and everything is matured enough. And if we have multiple maintainers for this project, then we can move it out of the sandbox into kind of official supported one, right? Until then, it will remain in the sandbox state, right? So we need to see that everything is kind of working there. Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree this is good for Harbor, but I think not only the bumping, right? So also regarding some user issue triaging and also the CV fixes also need to be updated regularly. Right?
Yeah.
So this is what we do for the Helm and for the major Harbor project.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I see one issue, Vadim, with that sandboxing thing. We don't have that defined in our governance, so that can raise some questions from the community. What do we mean by sandboxing a sub-project within the community?
So what I have in mind with sandboxing is, as I said, as I think I also agree with other people that we have this criteria that the project should be, maintained. So there's regular commitments, regular people who are taking care of the project. So this is one criteria, and the other criteria was that what was the other criteria? And then if this criteria is met, right, over not just for like the first weeks, but over a long time, like half a year, then it means that we can transition it out of the sandbox. So this is for me the criteria, what it means with the sandbox.
Mhm.
This is how I would personally define it, sandboxing, right?
My point was, I think everybody on that call understands what sandboxing means in that term, but the thing is, we don't have it formalized in the governance of the project. That's my point. So I'm just trying to avoid confusion within the community, and someone can say, "Hey, but I'm using that," and all of a sudden it's sandboxed, and is it like reliable, or what should I expect, or whatever? I mean, trying to, yeah.
The consequences of sandboxing or implications of that, yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. Like, we're a huge community. People can read that thing differently and can always find something to complain about. So I'm trying to figure out a way to fix that.
There's maybe a bit of due diligence, I guess, from your side that you could do ahead of time, so it's available on the Upbound marketplace. Like I said, you can help me out a bit as well with some of the product knowledge and just make sure everything behaves as expected. It has been tested, other than the one open issue, which I would appreciate some thoughts on. But yeah, so maybe the sandbox, if adding to your point, could essentially be where it currently is, and once you're at a point where you're comfortable with adopting, that it can move into Go Harbor. So we've got stuff on our side to look at, I guess, the technical roadmap for how you actually move the thing, but maybe on your side there's a due diligence of, do we want to support, do we want to adopt this?
And another thing, out of curiosity, do you have some statistics and some data around adoption of that?
No, I would love it. I would love it. Unfortunately, the Upbound marketplace doesn't give you anything like that. So as Billy mentioned, we have like backstage plugins that we publish on NPM, and you get lovely weekly download charts. We don't get anything like that with the cross-plane providers. So it's very difficult to tell, because you only really know people are using it if they raise an issue on GitHub. So it might be something I can reach out to I'm on the crossplane Slack. I can maybe reach out and see if it's something they can get in the background, or they can even expose to us somehow. But yeah, I can take a note of that as well.
I mean, it's just good idea to know that potential move to under the Harbor organization, how many entities we're going to impact with that.
Yeah.
So we can get prepared like for the hit
Yeah, for
or
sure.
or to be relaxed like there are a few dozens using it. I'm just shooting in the dark some numbers, but like to know something like to what to expect, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We it's probably used in a different way than the Terraform provider as well, I guess. So we use it internally, as I mentioned, as part of our internal developer platform. So it's more part of orchestrating, onboarding, or creating new products. So as part of creating a new product, we will create a project in Harbor and robot users and various other bits and pieces that a team need to be self-sufficient to be able to publish their images. So the usage numbers are likely not going to be the same as Terraform, especially now. It's still a relatively new product, but I think hopefully going forward in the future, it's something that will get more and more usage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay. A question on a personal note regarding crossplane and what do you think about KRO?
KRO, I'm not actually. What was that, sorry?
KRO, which stands for Kubernetes Resource Orchestrator, which is kind of think like an Upbound or should replace Upbound or not. It should not, but it can replace Upbound. So
I'm not familiar with that one. I know there are others. There's Syntasso have one called Cratix, which is a fairly similar thing. I think they try and differentiate themselves a little bit, but I guess there are other similar tools. I'm not familiar with KRO. I'll take a look.
Okay, yeah, because it's a bit of a hype currently. Well, more or less a hype, but yeah, about the possibilities because you can build your own CRDs and do a lot of day two operations with that.
Yeah, it does look similar. I'm just having a quick look at their high level diagrams on the page. I'll have a proper look. I think a lot of these things are they all, at the end of the day, they all allow you to do exactly what you said, which is like create your own CRDs or controllers to manage or operators to manage non-Kubernetes objects as Kubernetes or non-Kubernetes infrastructure via Kubernetes objects. We again, like when we work with clients, sometimes if it's a public thing like Harbor, our preference would always be to use or to create a crossplane or similar provider because they reuse. But for like internal tools, we'd probably build just a native Kubernetes operator. But I think a lot of these things are really tools to help people adopt Kubernetes in a more easy manner, like to be able to create their own custom resources quicker. Be my, but no, I think a lot of these tools are good. I'll take a look at KRO.
Yeah, I think just having a really quick skim, I hadn't seen it either, but taking a really quick skim and having spent a fair bit of time working with Crossplane now, I would say that just based on the documentation alone, Crossplane seems a lot more mature and kind of further along that process. Even if you look at some of the examples, they're very limited for KRO. Whereas, I think Crossplane's got like a fairly large user base now. If you go onto Upbound Marketplace and you look at all of the different providers and what they bring, that's quite a mature offering, I would say. It covers kind of most things that you would need to do. So that would be my initial reaction to it, but it would be worth us having a little look long.
Yeah, take a look.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Cool.
Me either. I think we're good for now.
Nice.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any more questions? Anyone else?
One note to you can also find us on the Slack community, right? So Slack channel. So
nice.
So we're quite active there as well. So if you can also kind of reach us.
Is it part of the CNCF Slack, or have you got?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice, cool. I'll join the channel.
I have a question to me from Ade. I suppose that should be for everyone else. I'm gonna repost it again. I suppose that's for everyone.
Regarding deployment.
Yeah. Not sure if it's related to the same cross-plane provider, but no, it's the Terraform.
No, it's not related.
It's a different topic.
Yes, different
Are, can you add that to the agenda, please? And we can add that to the next topics to discuss, which are, we have a few more.
Yeah, we have quite a few topics today.
All right. So I think we can close that one. And Lauren, you're gonna ping me or Vadim or Poran, whoever you think it's suitable for that particular topic that you may have to
Sure.
drive this through. Right.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you very much. Feel free to stay if you have something else. I don't know. You're more than welcome to stay on the call.
I'll stay on and just observe and listen in the background. And also, yeah, I'll be at KubeCon in London if anyone's going to be around. So
yes, that's my next topic. So KubeCon London, it's almost it's little less than 2 months from now. So who's going? And we've applied for the kiosk, and we're gonna have a maintainers track and lighting talk again. This time we won't have the project update on the stage. We decided not to do that because on the keynote stage, because we don't have much to update right now, and we can keep our turn for KubeCon in Atlanta. Atlanta? Is it? Yeah, Atlanta, in the end of the year for North America. So if you're going to KubeCon London, please add yourself, as Vadim I see is adding some names there, so we can do the kiosk scheduling. Again, I've booked our kiosk for the afternoons because that's what we do for the last few KubeCons. If you want to join and add something on the maintainers track, I think in a week time, me and Vadim, we're going to start building up the slide deck and the overall agenda, what we want to cover up on the maintainers track. So if you want to have some of your topics covered in the maintainers track, like you're super proud of new function that you added or something else, just drop a message and we can add that. I'm going to share the slide deck for everybody to review once we are somewhere near done. All right. Next one. I think Vadim, you added the next one. By the way, any questions about KubeCon London? No. For the folks from Broadcom, my lovely ex-colleagues, Daniel, Stephen, any one of you, Jan, I can see Jan, but anyone from Broadcom will join KubeCon, or budgets do not allow that?
I think for the London one, so we will not join.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were looking for whether we can join the US one.
In the US?
Yeah.
Great. What about China? Are you going to do China as well, or have you discussed that with the management? I mean, I'm asking because I want to, if we do China, I would love to join. It's August 21st, 23rd of August in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, right? Yeah. I need to check. I can share in next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, just from logistics perspective, if we're gonna have presence there, it's good to plan that ahead. So
yeah,
cool. If something changes for London, just let me know, please, so we can work on that. Alrighty. Next one then. The Linux Foundation Mentorship Program. Vadim, you added this one, I think. So
yeah, that was me. So we're gonna do another LFX mentorship program this year or this spring, and it will start already in March. We wanted to have 3 mentors or mentees present for the spring session, but we didn't have enough projects and we also didn't have enough mentors for that. So we are gonna go again with 2 people, and they're gonna be working on the Harbor CLI and also on the satellite project. So just to inform you that we have two mentees again for the CLI, and I hope this time we can get the CLI out of the door with the feature completion. I mean, we have currently the CLI with 40 plus pending PRs that needs to be reviewed and checked and tested. So I hope we can get the CLI finally out of the door after this mentorship. Because we have already quite a few features there, and I personally use already a CLI quite often. So yeah, so I hope we can make it an official that kind of 1.0 release or something. Yeah, that's just information about the LFX mentorship.
in the Linux Foundation Mentorship Program, we have the CLI and we have the satellite again, right? Or
yes.
Yeah. So
and the third one was UX, but there was people we had some for the UX part. They could not join, so that's why we kind of had to drop that. The one from the university that we had a talk at the KubeCon.
Okay, and for the CLI, remind me, I cannot recall right now. Are we going to bind the CLI to specific versions, or I mean, are we going to release the CLI with each version, or?
Currently, we're targeting the CLI to start with 2.12 or 2.13. Whenever we release the 1.0, and then the CLI will follow those versions, so that all the CLI versions will support older Harbor versions, and the newer CLI will support newer Harbor versions. I think the CLI is not so critical in terms of backwards compatibility because the API is pretty stable. So I would just go with that first and then see if we really need to have multiple support for multiple kind of backward compatible.
Good.
But I would just add this functionality like this, start it like this.
Okay. Anyone? Any questions about the Linux Foundation Mentorship Program? Nope. All right. Next one. Not sure who added that. I suppose
is me, I guess.
Valentin.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose that's Valentin, right? Hi, welcome.
Yeah. Yes, hello. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So hello everyone. So it's the first time I joined the Harbor community meeting. So I was discussing with Vadim related to artifact storage on OCI compliant registry. And in fact, I started in September last year to build a new client library for Java and Horas framework because I was interested by developing a Jenkins plugin in order to store artifact on an OCI registry. And this was moved to the Horas organization beginning of the year. So this, let's say, opened the doors to many kind of experiment, especially with Maven. So if we want, for example, to store artifact on a CI storage like Harbor. So I have also a mini demo if I'm allowed to share related to this.
Okay, go ahead. I think
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Share. Okay. So let me know when you see my screen.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the project was moved beginning of the year, is a very beginning, so it doesn't implement the full OCI specification, but we can do already some push pull of content. So the idea is that inside any Java application, you can use this SDK to perform operation on an OCI registry. So to demo that, I created a project on the demo Arbor. I have also very basic Java CLI that is just using the SDK in order to validate the push and pull. So we can see here that it works, and I can also remove my hello and pull it up here. Artifact, and I should find here in my directory my hello file. So obviously the goal is not to implement a CLI, it was just to demonstrate the usage of the SDK. But perhaps one more interesting use case is the integration with Maven. So here also I created a very basic extension. So Maven has a pluggable system that you can build a plugin or extension. And the idea is that using this on your manifest, you can specify different distribution management with a specific OCI layout. So using this, by doing a Maven deploy, we are able to deploy the build artifact directly on the OCI registry. So let's do that. So a lot of logs because it's in a debug, but we should see at some point that we will upload our artifact on the demo Arbor for several modules. Here it should be finished. And if we refresh also here, we should be able to find our two artifacts. So in that case, a jar and a POM file that was uploaded. So we can see here the file name is a POM file, and on this one is a simple jar. So it's really basic. At the moment, this extension just support the deployment, so no download yet. But yeah, it just demonstrates that it open the doors to many different integration and experiment. So that's pretty much all on my side that I wanted to share with you.
Cool. That's really
Hey,
nice.
thanks.
I mean,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
So
that's very
I have-
interesting. Yeah, but I have a question. I'll let you go next, Steven. Yeah, because we have a lot. Once in a while we hear requirement to store the traditional artifact on Harbor. So we tried several different ways, and I think one biggest challenge is that the traditional artifact, they often have the reference relationship. I'm not sure, I'm not a Java expert, but I believe Maven has similar challenge, right? I mean, when you use Maven to deploy something, it may refer another Maven artifact within the Maven module. Have you thought about how to handle that? I mean, if you store different module all in OCI and you use Maven and they have reference to each other, is that possible to handle that using this extension?
So no, I didn't thought about that because I was focused much more on implementing the Horace SDK. I'm not a Maven developer, so I don't know all the internals. So yeah, I needed to figure out also how to implement this and which interface implement. But I guess it should be possible. So yeah, as long as we have the list of artifacts from Maven, we just need to think about how to structure and have a relationship between those artifacts. But yeah, in theory, it's totally possible, I guess.
Yeah, if that can be so, that would be very interesting. I think you can try to talk to Java developer and see if they like it. And there will be more, I mean, concrete use case from Java developers, like how they would use Maven, how they expect we organize this artifact. Yeah, it's really cool. Thank you. And yeah, I'll really keep an eye on this repo.
Okay, perfect.
I have also a note, and it's also similar to what Jan Mang said regarding references. I saw in your demo that you uploaded the POM as its own artifact and the jar as its own artifact. I think what you can do is you can upload them as a whole package, right? So you can upload the jar and the POM as a referenced artifact. You know that you can reference artifacts.
Yes.
And you could reference them together so that they're still uploaded as own artifact, but they're referenced together so that when you look at the jar file, you already have the relation to the POM file. And if you look at the POM file, you have also the relation to the jar file, right? So you can have this flow, kind of build this relationship.
Yeah, that's in theory possible. So in my case, I just let's say follow the base Maven to HTTP layout that just upload different file. So I just implemented those extension point. But yeah, probably there is a much better way to either reference artifact or group them on a similar container. Yeah, so definitely. But here, I would need to talk to more Java or Maven developer about that because yeah, I need to check the Maven internals to do those kind of things.
Yeah. I can put you into a few with a few Maven developers in contact that I know. Some Maven maintainers.
Okay.
So I can put you in contact and also show them this demo. So I think they also would like to be really interested in that.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Valentin. Thank you. I think this is really cool. So the extension you developed for Maven, where does it run? It run on the client Maven side or?
So at the moment, the SDK, so the library that just encapsulate the call to the OCI registry is hosted on the Horace project. I can also give the link there. We will soon publish a version on Maven Central. So I suppose that it should be available for consuming in some weeks. And the extension that is using the SDK for the moment is only on my personal GitHub, but I can give you the link. Was really just an experiment on my side. So yeah, I send the link on the chat.
So if I'm a Maven user, I need to use your extension in order to store this artifact in Harbor.
So yeah, at the moment this was developed as an extension. So you just need to drop on your project a .mvn folder and an extension .xml file referencing this extension.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
So yeah,
Yeah.
write this at the moment. So no published version, is only local development right now, but that would be the way to support this different layout and use OCI distribution on your POMs via extension.
Yeah, cool. I think we can work on with the Maven community and also to see it and how they view this, right?
Mhm.
But I feel this is pretty cool. This is
Yeah.
I think what we would like to see for a while. So
Yeah.
thank you.
For the moment, personally, I will focus more on the SDK level because there are still missing features like the referrer or some endpoint not yet implemented. So probably I will not touch this extension in the following months. So if anyone want to try and do a different experiment, yes, you can do it via just consuming the SDK. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Valentine. And I'll put you in contact with the Maven developers. So maybe they
Okay,
can give you
sure.
some feedback.
All right. Thank you very much, Valentin. Anyone else? Any more questions about that? Nope. All right. Thank you once again. And since we're running almost out of time, let's see what we have next. Oh, it's me. The OCI conformance. I'm not sure if you saw that, but we can run the OCI conformance tests and to be listed on GitHub as supported. So right now, Artifactory, Azure Container Registry, and some other that I'm not sure how to pronounce are there listed. Do we think that would make sense? Or I think it makes sense for us to be listed there as compliant. Just checking with everyone.
Yeah, that one was on my radar, and I recall I had some discussion with Yan, and there are some detail. We don't fully pass all the tests. I believe for Harbor to be in the folder, we need to fully conform it, right?
I mean, if we pass 1.0, I mean, we should be able to pass 1.0.
Yeah.
I'll double check with Yan, but I think he mentioned that there are 1 or 2 test cases. That seems really weird. And because Harbor leverages the distribution v2 at this moment, but distribution v2 doesn't handle that very well. But Yan is taking a sick leave today. I'll double check when he's back. Miner, you have anything to add? I know you've been working with him on this conformance test.
Yeah, I recall there will be some like implementation things like chunk, maybe upload chunk thing that part of conformance test that Harbor is not fully supported or passed yet. And then several months ago that the 1.1 spec of the conformance test still have some like code things or test things that are not fully compatible with the spec. So I'm not sure about how their current status, but yes, Harbor's not fully passed the conformance test several months ago. Yeah.
But that will be easier to fix since we forked the distribution, right?
Sure. We need them on the distribution side on the Harbor fork repo.
Yeah. I'll write down a follow up. I'll check with Yan, and I think when we have time, I think we can make some improvement on that.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I
bringing
think
it up.
yeah.
Since it doesn't harm if we run the checks and see where we fail, and to address that prior, and even we can check with the OCI folks if we hit some, for example, some super corner cases.
Since there's
We can ask them to update the conformance test case. I don't think that will happen.
yeah, some like I have an issue for them that they fixed in the main branch, but not merging to or cherry pick to the specific versions. If we're running the conformance test on the specific versions, then that case will be failed. Some things like this will happen at Harbor side. So it depends on which branch or tag we are running against.
Yeah, but then you sure will follow up for it.
Yeah. I'll check it also with Jan and Meyer once I have something. All right. Next one, Daniel. We have something from you about it. Yeah.
I'll quickly share my screen. Sorry. Let me open it. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, it's about design. I'll be real quick. Currently, in Harbor, some of the data are encrypted and stored in database, and the key was set via a environment variable. And when some user try to update the secret key, they have the difficulty because it's not possible because their persistent data are still encrypted by the old key. So here I'm proposing a really simple API for the system admin of Harbor to encrypt those secret data using a new key and using this API. And after that, they can feel free to update this the secret key to the new one and redeploy Harbor. That's all about this design. And please take a look. And the implementation will be really simple. So if it gets approved, I think I'll work on the implementation within 2013 timeframe. That's the topic 1. The topic 2. Oh, wait a minute. Are you seeing my screen? I'm sharing the design. Okay.
You are sharing a pull request.
Yeah, we can see just a pull request right now.
So currently I'm going back to the community repo. So is that right? Because on my screen there's another browser.
I think
highlighted.
you have shared. Yeah, I think you have shared the wrong window.
Okay. Sorry. Let's try again. So I'm on the community repo, and this is the design. Yeah, please spend some time to take a look. I just create a PR. And another trivial topic is that when I'm working on the proposal, I noticed that this is not very well organized at the moment. There are some design in the new folder and some of in the proposal folder. I think probably we should clean it up to make sure all the proposals in this list are implemented and keep the accepted but not implemented proposal in the new folder. Do you think that will work? But currently it's hard to tell which proposal is implemented, which are not.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Maybe we should just not call it new, but accepted and rejected, right? But I think moving the proposal once it's rejected makes no sense. I think maybe we just should store them by year or something. But then
yeah.
Because so, once they accept it, they will not be moved, right? So like someone needs to move them afterwards, right? And that will be another PR. And
yes, yes, yeah. I think the workflow is when you write a PR to this repo, it's under review. So by default, it will be go to the new folder. And once it's merged, that means it's accepted. So that remain the new folder because it's not implemented. But when it's implemented and when we are preparing for the release, I think we can add a step to for whoever is making the release to double check what's been implemented and move this from the new folder to the proposal folder. I think that will work, and we will only need the new folder. We don't need extra folders.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that sounds okay, I think in the next couple of weeks, I'll spend some time to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Orin, that's all for me.
Great. And we have, by the way, any questions about that, around that? Nope. I've added very last minute a reminder for all of us not to forget that super important topic. And it's a question more to Daniel and Stephen Wren about migration from the current VMware/Broadcom infrastructure for build and test of Harbor to the CNCF infrastructure cluster. I know we've discussed that a few times already, and we were waiting on your side to have resource available on that. Can you share what's the situation there? And
I think last time discussed this, we are waiting for. I think you mentioned you will find some people who is doing this migration work. From our side, we will provide a guidance regarding how the current testing is run. I think that part, Daojun and Yan is preparing some documentation. So we need resources to do the work. We don't have resources to do the migration.
Yeah, I know. And last time we agreed that it would be from my side, Vadim and Mirantis also were ready to help at that point. So I think once we have the the strategy and the planning and the requirements shared from your side, I think there'll be a lot of folks ready to help out with that.
Yeah, I think if you and Vadim can identify the engineer who is doing this, and we can start doing some transition sessions.
Yeah,
is that okay?
That was shared last time. That the entry points for that would be is a start me and Vadim as a like a concentration points of knowledge and requirements, and then we can distribute that across Vadim's team, like Sergio or some of the other folks, and I can find someone else on my side as well. So we can work on that. So we were waiting for your sign to be kicked off so we can work on the plan. Yeah.
So currently we have identified engineering resources, and the next step we can, if that is already ready, and then we can schedule some meetings. I will talk with Yan and Daojun offline and see when we can schedule a session. Okay.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I mean, we did already some pre-work for that as well already. Prasant is working a bit on that. But yeah, we have already planned it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we have some paperwork prepared, and probably we can share that out first for you to have a read, and then we can have schedule several sharing sessions. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right. I think that's the end of our list of topics for today. Anyone wants to add something very last minute? Miner has added something to the chat.
Yes, thanks, Lin. I haven't had a chance to send this proposal to the Slack channel since I just got my account back. So I have added a new proposal, super simple and direct proposal for support Harbor in Redis TLS connection. So everyone, if you have any time, please help to take a look and leave your concerns or comments and let me know. And this feature will be like implemented in the incoming release to the 13, and we will also do some like fix on the fork distribution side to let the distribution also support the TLS connections. By the way, this is like the phase 1, so we only support like standard connections for server authentications. So MTLS is not the goal. So please help to take a look. Thanks.
Thank you, Miner. I've added that to the meeting minutes, so I hope everyone else can take a look and provide you feedback.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Great. Okay. All right. I think that's everything for today. It was a fantastic meeting. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep in touch. Once that recording is ready, I'm gonna post it and send it over for everyone to take a look if you haven't made it. So thank you, and talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.